Good time of day for a cigarette and a,
Oh,
and a drink.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to be a heavy smoker.
Well, I remember that. You smoked for years. You haven't smoked, what, in about 10 years now?
Yeah, at least 10 years.
Wow.
Now. Yeah. And,
I think it's one of those things you could pick right back up.
yeah, you can.
You're not careful.
Yeah.
So you were born May 16th, 1924,
Right.
and you grew up, your entire childhood was in Cleveland?
In Cleveland.
And what do you remember about your childhood and school and your friends, your neighborhood, your family? Main memories that come back, the church?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I went to St. Margaret's, and when they first opened up St. Margaret's Parish on Buckeye Road.
Where was that? In Cleveland?
Yeah.
Proper?
Oh yeah, on Buckeye and 116th Street.
Oh.
And I was in the first grade.
Uh-huh.
And I went through 8 grades.
Wow.
And I was the first graduating class at St. Margaret's. And to this day, the kids in that class still meet. And that is some 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at St. Margaret's, let me show this. There we go. At St. Margaret's, did they have the nuns that hit you on the knuckles with the rulers and like the patent leather shoes, like that play?
Yeah. And one of the worst memories I have was in the first grade.
Yeah.
And the teacher wanted us to do a painting. My hobby now is painting.
Yeah.
But I painted a picture, and everybody did. And the teacher went around telling everybody how good they were, and I could hardly wait for her to come and tell me about mine. And she looked at my painting and said, "That's the worst thing I've ever seen." I was in the first grade.
Wow.
And she made me stand in front of the class and had the class laugh at the picture.
That's
and
terrible.
Then she took me across the other first grade and had those kids laugh. It was the most disastrous. I probably still suffer from that degradation.
I had something similar happen where the art teacher came by and looked at a tree that I had made, and she said that's not a tree.
Yeah.
And it was embarrassing, and it does leave a mark. It takes a little bit of courage to get over that.
But I did have some really, and I got beat by nuns in other classes, but I've had some really great nuns, especially my 8th grade nun teacher. She was just fabulous. I used to deliver the milk to all the classes, so I'd get there early before school started, and she used to take me down and give me some candy and stuff. I remember that, and she was just a delight.
That's great.
So we had some good ones.
Yeah, not so good ones.
No.
But what are your memories of those early years besides?
Well, I walked to school. I mean, there must have been maybe 10 blocks. Yeah, school at least about a mile to go to school in the first grade. And never mind it being in winter. Oops.
I could just spill my Coke and clean it up for a second.
I got a big thing of root beer, and I'm carrying it up a couple of steps, and it went all over the floor.
Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. You were saying that you used to walk 10 miles to school?
No, not 10 miles, but at least 2 miles, yeah.
Well, just look at the camera and say, I walked 10 miles.
I walked 10 miles.
10 miles to school.
Yes.
This is for posterity or whatever they say.
Oh, sure.
Like 10 miles.
10 miles, yeah. And in the first grade.
Wow.
And one of the scary things, I came home one day and my mother was not at home. And here I come home and she's not at home. It scared me. What do I do now?
Yeah.
And I found out what had happened. My cousin came over from Europe, and my mother went down to pick her up at the railroad station, and she just came in. She couldn't speak any English, and
And you didn't know that was going to happen?
no. So that was kind of scary.
I bet. How old were you?
Oh, I was 6 years old in first grade.
Wow.
You know.
So who are your friends in 6th grade? You get to see some of these people still?
Oh yes. And many of them died, but I know I was the head of the 50th reunion, and now it's probably 60 years, and not many are left. But it was a great bunch. We just all knew each other, and and that's the other experience is that I was in the first grade or second when my dad died. He was 52 years old, and it was a respiratory problem, and which we knew was which now is called black lung disease for working in the coal mines. You know, so there, and mom had to raise 8 kids without a father, and so we were on welfare, and that's how we lived. And my 3 older sisters, they quit school before they graduated from high school, so they could go to work to support the family, but they made out all right. My oldest sister Helen married a school teacher, and Ann married. He was a policeman, but then he worked as a butcher, and then they opened up their own restaurant. That's what killed my sister Ann. She had a heart attack on Mother's Day after a hard day's work in the restaurant and bar that they owned. And then Ethel married some kind of a bum, and she was only married one day when she left him. But he was his name was Ernie Dupé, and he drank a lot, and so she never remarried.
She was sweet.
Yeah.
Gail and I had a chance to meet her.
Yeah. And Tim really loved her.
Yeah.
She really got along. And she loved Tim, coming home from work and sit down and talk to her.
That's nice.
And then my brother Frank, he got in with the crowd when he was young and picked up for robbery and expense. Good part of his life in jail. And it was just so sad. He never did get married. And now he died. And then John died. He outlived 2 wives. And then, so there's me and Julius. And Julius is living in Houston. And he's got started with Alzheimer's, so he doesn't, he probably don't even remember me. It's no one I have, and all my uncles are gone, and there's no one in the family left anymore.
Well, it's another good reason to capture and to record some of the memories, because you're the one who's left to tell the stories.
Yeah, that's how I thought of it, and your sister Marnie had been after me, and she even gave me the notebook, and she said she would get it typed for me if I wrote out memoirs, and I even bought a tablet I was going to, and never got around to it.
Well, you were talking about some of the experiences in first grade. What else do you remember about growing up in Cleveland and your your life and your family.
Well, I never knew we were on welfare, but it never occurred to me, you know.
Right.
And we had just had a happy family, and I played games with the kids. And
What did you play?
we played baseball on the street, you know.
You were still on Buckeye?
Yeah, in neighborhood. I spent a lot of time on Buckeye. And, but we just had a real good childhood, playing games. I played football, and we had this rivalry with St. Benedict's School. And one of my best friends who lives down here in thing that I grew up with, he went to St. Benedict's, and we were kind of rivals.
Yeah, who's that?
Joe Kavancic.
Oh, really? Yeah. And
you know Joe?
yeah, sure. And Joe lives down here?
He's in Orlando. You know.
I didn't realize that you two grew up together.
Oh, yeah, we grew up together. And he went off to the war, and I wanted to. One of the things I remember is that my other, at that time, even a better boyfriend was Emilio Cazzesi, good Italian buddy.
Yeah.
And we grew up, we're neighbors. And he said, "Hey, Lou, I'm going to join the Marines." And I said, "Oh, great." And he says, I want to go to New York and visit some of my friends there. And how about coming with me? And I worked for the A&P at that time, and my mother couldn't afford it. So I said, I liked it, but I can't afford it. So his mother and dad paid my way, and we took a train to New York, and he had two little girlfriends, and we were just 16. And it was the first girl I ever kissed. We went to...
but not the last.
Not the last, thank heavens. Right. But so anyway, we came back, and I told my mother, I said, "Well, I'm joining the Marines." And she said, "Like heck you are."
Yeah.
And I said, "Jeff." And she said, I have to sign for you because you're only 17. Right. And so she said, "I'm not signing for you." It was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because he went on to the Marines, and out of his company of 200, only four guys came back. Yeah. And he was in the infantry.
Did Emilio come back?
And Emilio came back, but he was shot up with shrapnel. And there was only out of the four, only one that didn't have any wounds. And his ammo carrier died in his arms. And I know we went to visit his family in Virginia. But you know, I could think of what could have happened to me. Yeah. You know, and he had died, and I introduced him to his wife, and that was the Godfather's first daughter that was born. Great. So we had that close relationship, and then he finally died of cancer. So that's how tough getting old. Yeah. Yeah, you stop going to weddings and you start going to funerals. And that's where I'm at now.
I think I told you I saw this little television clip of one of these shows, and the host was talking to one of the guests and said, you know, I need to tell you, and he said, "Ain't any of us getting off this planet alive." You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it is scary watching the people that you love grow old and growing older yourself, but it's kind of just part of what we all have to do.
Yeah.
So.
Matter of fact, we just got a card we send out our Christmas cards in January.
You do?
Yeah. And we sent one to a couple, the Odies. Well, Helen Odie worked for me, and she was a stenographer for NASA, and so we became kind of friends, and to her and her husband, we always to go out together, and he developed Lou Gehrig's disease. So we didn't know whether he was still alive or not. So we sent them a Christmas card, and we got a card back from him and said Helen died. He had Lou Gehrig's disease, but Helen died last March. And it was so sad.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry to hear that.
You know.
You, yeah, but we talked a little bit about first grade. Your father died when you were in second grade.
Yeah.
Your mother and your older sisters worked to support the family, and
Oh, my mother never worked.
oh, she didn't.
No. She just took care of us kids.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I think every mother, and we're going to have to edit that comment out so mothers across America don't.
Well, she worked.
There you go.
She took care of the house.
That's right.
And took care of us.
We have to be sensitive.
Washed our clothes.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
I remember we had such a big family. I remember sleeping with my mother.
Yeah.
And one of the embarrassing things I remember is I used to pee, and one day I let go on bed, and just, she woke me up, and I got up, and she cleaned up, not one bad word, what do you do, or something. And I looked back, and she was just an angel,
Yeah.
She just cleaned up, changed the bed and stuff, and cleaned me up, and back to bed, but, I don't know if one of my kids did that to me, but I would have been.
May have had one or two unkind words.
Yeah, but never did she. Yeah, she used to yell at me for coming in late at night.
Yeah, just worried about you.
Like this and worried about me, but
Well, that's nice. And when any other memories of the early years, grade school, the neighborhood family, it sounds like you went through grammar school in the one school.
Yeah, and then I got out of there and went to Audubon Junior High School, which is still operating.
Is that a public school?
Yeah, public school. And then I wanted to go to East Tech and become a machinist, because my dad was a machinist, and my uncle was a machinist, and my mother said, no, you're not going to work in a factory.
Huh.
And she says, I want you to go to John Hay, which my brother Julius went to. He was a business school. I compromised and went to John Adams, which was a kind of a college prep school. But they did have technical subjects, so I took auto mechanics, and I took bookkeeping, and a little bit of college prep, but never thought about going to college. But then I got the job as a mechanic, so that came in handy. I did that when the war started, so I had to get a job. So I went to work for SkyTech, working on airplanes, and they had a Navy contract teaching cadets from stationed at John Carroll to give their preliminary air lessons. To take them up, they had to get 10 hours before they got into whether they accepted in them with the Navy Air Force. And so I was making $10 a week.
$10 a week, yeah.
I took out 10 cents for taxes, so I got $9.90. And they asked me if I would drive the bus from John Carroll to the airport, because I lived on the east side. They said they'll pay me $35 a week. I said, that's a lot of money. So I drove them from the John Carroll, which incidentally is my alma mater now, but from John Carroll out to the airport 5 days a week for
When
$35.
wow, when was this, in like 44
That was in
or something?
the 42, 44, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah, 42, you would have been 18.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So you wanted to,
43, 44, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, they used to say in their bulletin that they got 1 hour of flying before they got to the airport. And I was telling your mother about, or your wife about the incident of driving the bus and pulling cadets. And I came up at Purvis Avenue. There was a railroad crossing and a train on the tracks. And I hit the brakes and the brakes went out.
whoa,
And I swerved over and I yelled at all the cadets. I said, hang on, because we're going over, because I didn't want to hit the train.
right,
So I scooted around the tracks, and just miraculously the train passed, and I was able to get across and came to a stop. And there was silence for about 5 minutes, and all the cadets just, and me, I couldn't even hardly breathe. And I edged it over back to the airport, but that was one of the incidents that was,
pretty frightening.
yeah, it was frightening, yeah.
Yeah. So your friend Emilio wanted you to join the Marines with him. Your mom wouldn't sign.
Yeah.
So after this mechanic training and things, you were working as a mechanic at SkyTech. They promote you to the bus driver.
Bus driver, yeah.
And
then about that time, there was a Navy contract, so we had to join the Navy. So I joined the Navy.
I didn't know you were in the Navy.
Oh yeah, I was in the Navy.
Yeah.
As a yeoman, but I wore officer's uniform, which I bought. And then when the program was over, for 2 years I was with the Navy. Then I wanted to go into active duty. So I went up to Detroit to sign up for active duty. And while I'm waiting for them to take me in, I went to work for NASA, or NACA at that time.
Right.
And NACA would not let you join would turn it down. So I finally got a discharge, but they wouldn't let me go into active duty because I was too important with the space there, with the aircraft program.
Right.
And we were working on all the airplanes for the Army and Navy and the Air Force. And some, as a matter of fact, there was one incident where they asked us, volunteers, to work around the clock because there was a special project, and that was there was an engine, a Wright 3350. I still remember that. It was a piston engine, and I don't know what we were doing, but I was assembling and stuff like this, and for about 3 days, and they wouldn't tell us what it was, security, and they wouldn't let anybody in except us, and it was high security. And then one morning coming to work, there was a headline that the United States bombed Tokyo. And then the guy got to work and says, that's what you were working on. Wow. The airplanes were stalled in the desert and were overheating. So they sent a message to NACA that what can you do? So the engineers built baffles in between the pistons to fix, and they worked. And they were able to take off in the desert like they did in the Desert Storm.
Wow. And was this connected with Doolittle's group that launched them from sea and went in and bombed Tokyo? You know, that raid? Yeah,
that was the airplane that they used, but because of the heat, the desert, they weren't able to, the engines were overheating. So we fixed that.
So
I helped bomb Tokyo.
Who played you in that Jimmy Stewart movie that captured all of that? Do you remember that? Yeah. I think June Allison was his wife. It was a great movie. Hold on for just a second. I'm going to see if you have something behind you there. the interruption there, I just kept seeing that
Yeah.
thing in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's better. But, so you bombed Tokyo.
I bombed Tokyo,
Yeah, and
yes.
went on with Jimmy Stewart and June Allison to the whole movie about that, and we don't know who portrayed you, but somebody in in that crowd scene. I think maybe I know which scene that was. That was great.
Yeah. One of the things that at John Adams High School, I remember so I was kind of a goofball. But anyway, I passed everything except bookkeeping, and I flunked. And I spent the rest of my life being a bookkeeper. But I needed some credit hours, and I thought the easiest was to join this singing group. It was a choral group that was being taught, and that was why it was really memorable. And I kind of goofed off, but joined this group, and we were studying or practicing to do the Mikado, and we were practicing every day until one day when they bombed Pearl Harbor, and our teacher came in and says, "We're not doing the Mikado."
Wow.
Japanese.
And was that your senior year?
Yeah, I think so. But I never did get to sing, and I never did get to see the Mikado. And one of my things I want to do is see the Mikado.
Oh, you haven't seen the Mikado?
No. But we practiced it and stuff, and we never did. But this guy that was a teacher, he was just really fantastic, and had more fun with him. And I remember one time I'm sitting in the back there, and he's giving us a story about he was in this place, I don't remember.